Welcome to Sassy Red TV, also known as Sassy TV, where we uncover my comment section in the sex ed world. And let's go over a couple of the things that dropped in my comment section this week and go over and understand people's questions so we can probably understand our own world. So first up we have what's working in this world. I took the liberty of writing things down in order of what's working, and then we'll go over a couple of questions so that we can sit with it, go over it together. What's working? From the comment section. Kayla Ann, or Sassy, which do I call you? I love waiting for myself and waiting for my partner. I didn't know it was something that I could experience. Waiting after getting sucked in is something that you can experience with your partner, so that way your anatomy can go, oh, you're here and I'm here. Aha. So the waiting to get sucked in is not just waiting to get sucked in, but it's also staying in the entryway, staying there for just a second to say hello, give a person a hug essentially. When you invite somebody into your house, you take off your shoes, you say hello, you give them a hug for a second, and then you go on to, would you like a glass of water? So essentially before you go into impact and the back and forth between the two of you, sitting there for 30 seconds can be just as glorifying as actual impact. Sometimes up to a minute. I even asked my own partner a couple of months after dating, I said, what was the best thing I ever did? And he said, oh my gosh, the first time that you let me just wait inside of you. And I'm like, really? Out of all the things that I did, this was the thing that actually worked for you. So just to keep in mind, not only waiting to get sucked in, but also staying there for a minute after getting sucked in. This is what worked for somebody. Another thing that is working with somebody is super cocking. Super cocking in my world is words of affirmation to an owner of a cock. Not only words of affirmation, but also befriending that cock, understanding that cock, and understanding the person and the cock, and treating the cock completely different so that their brain can start stimulating through the day and go, what are we gonna do later? So it's a way of understanding, hey, I really appreciate and see and feel the things that you're doing, either today, this week, this month, this year. When we verbalize that we are being appreciated, our anatomy starts to get more blood flow. Our brain starts to get more blood flow. So you can imagine what would happen downstairs. And essentially, it does happen. It can happen. It's not something that's just like this mystery thing. It's absolutely a thing that you can do. Another thing that's working for somebody, I feel more comfortable communicating my needs. When I've asked you guys to go, hey, communicate to your partner, do you feel complete? Would you like to move on? Also communicating, there's a whole page that I have on my website about communication and how to get what you want in the bedroom. One of those tips is, hey, I would like to experience this. I haven't experienced this, but I keep noticing I look at this. Do you even know how to approach this? It's something that we can step back on and be a little vulnerable and be like, so I saw this thing on the internet. You want to try it with me? Because it's something that you can actually go, I see that they're being a little vulnerable. Can I step into my own vulnerability and go, yeah, sure, let's see if we can try that. Who wouldn't want to say yes to that? Okay, moving on. Another thing that's working is awareness of the diaphragm and the pelvic floor. Some people are really finding that the respiratory diaphragm, what you breathe with, and your pelvic diaphragm are something that works together, something that travels as a pair. If I inhale, there's an expansion downward into the seat that I'm sitting on. And if I exhale, there's a slight lift away from the chair. This happens naturally, and you can imagine what sex would look like. Same thing. Something that looks like an accordion. Yeah? Okay. Cool. So being aware of the cupping sensation in the beginning to get the diaphragms working is essentially what they're saying is working. The diaphragm connection is working. And getting the diaphragm and pelvic floor connection is not only important, but how do I say this without being inclusive? It's a need that you need to slow down for. Because your diaphragm and pelvic floor work together, they have to then start slowing down in order to start working with one another. So cupping, because there's so much trauma in everybody's pelvis, everybody has a history in their pelvis. So cupping allows you to slow down and get the accordion, get the breath and the pelvic floor to work so that anything that you want to do forward from there is an easy road. I'm gonna let that sink in for a second. Everyone has trauma. Cupping is a way to soften your way into that traumatized pelvis, to move forward and using sex as a healthy form of healing and a way to move forward from your traumas. Cupping allows you to come into the room. Cupping allows you to be seen. Cupping allows you to be felt. And for some of us that have had trauma to our pelvis, those last three things are huge. So let's move on a little bit. I'll give it a little bit of space. What do we need more of in sex education? I saw this comment earlier and it made me laugh. No more 8th grade immaturity. I believe that our sex education starts and sort of stops around 8th grade to about 10th grade. In the school that you either went to, it was something that started, didn't start at all, or was like, aren't we supposed to know about this? I've heard about the banana and the condom and STDs and getting women pregnant. Sounds important. What I see is a beautiful thing, is an opportunity to give people a need of just wanting to pleasure their partners and do it properly. So there's no immaturity of, oh, let me poke you in the bedroom and let's try to do this thing that I just want to use this as a release. Some people use sex as a release. I use sex as a power tool to get what I want in life. Meaning, I harness the energy from sex. I use that energy that I'm seeing and feeling, and I desire what I want in life. I say it while I'm orgasming or in that time frame of about 5 to 10 minutes after or during. I harness energy. I get it going to a point of, this is the most sacred energy that I have, is a deep connection of creation to this world. Even though I'm not trying to have kids right now, I can still harness the creative energy of, what do I want? Well, what do you want? You can harness this energy of your wants, needs, and desires from the seat of your pants, from the zipper of your own pants. Look no further than your pants, essentially. You can harness this energy starting with CCW and CHM, cup, curtain, weight, which is getting the people in the room, getting the person in the room. CHM is also getting that traumatized pelvis in the room. Every single person has had trauma to a pelvis, rather to a biking accident or rather to an incident that happened in your past with either a family member or someone that you were seeing in your past or weren't seeing. We all have a history. And if you don't, you're lucky. You probably know someone that has to slow down and go, whew, So a way that CCW works and CHM works is to allow yourself, traumatized or not traumatized, to be in a place of receiving blood flow, which is receiving more sensation, which is also receiving more CO2 and oxygen, H2O, H. Hi, oxygen and CO2 combined, which is in and out, which is a combination of you getting into the room, out of the room, into your body, out of your body, because this is the experience of breathing. Some of us, when we come, we can go, or we tighten. This is a way of controlling your orgasm rather than. Sometimes I lose my words and I use my hands. I apologize, but I don't apologize at the same time for being myself. So what we can think of instead of clenching and controlling is letting it out and going with the flow that we can have, which is the universal flow of creation, which is the flow of creation of what you want and desire in your life. Which the reason why most of you are here is because you want better orgasms, you want to be a better partner, and you're looking to understand the female orgasm, the male orgasm. Can I continue on, right? So also things that we want more of. You're here because you need those things, and I'm trying to help you as best as I can possible. Let's answer 2 more questions. Lube-friendly content. Well, let's go over something super basic, which is water-based lube, silicone-based lube. Silicone-based lube has silicone in it. Most people think like, oh, I'm going to play with my silicone lube with my toys. Actually, not as much as we think that is true. Like, let's rewind and go back. Whoop. Actually, silicone eats silicone. So another way to think about it is you want to use silicone-based lube in maybe anal area because you just need a little bit more give and take there, and you want it to last a little bit longer, if you know what I mean. Water-based lube and your silicone toys work really well together because you're thinking about that water-based lube is not going to eat your silicone, and also when working together it does glide a lot easier versus silicone. I believe that there are a ton of brands out there that do a really good job. However, you're looking for products that don't have petroleum-based products in them. That's the biggest thing you're looking for. So as long as it doesn't have petroleum-based products in it, it's pretty good for your vag. The other thing that you're also looking for is things that have flavoring can, as women, as ladies, can mess up our own pH system. So when we're thinking about lubrications that taste good, it might be good just to put it on somebody's dick and then also have fun with the flavoring of that. But when we think about putting it down on us and then having our partner go down on us, it can actually mess up our pH system more than it can enhance our pleasure. It can enhance our pleasure for a second, but down the road, 15-20 minutes / 3 days later, you might have a different reaction. And some are more sensitive than others. So it's just something that you don't have to be warned of, but just something that just like be aware of, because it's just something to be aware of. Are you sensitive to flavoring or not? But the biggest thing that everyone needs to pay attention to is silicone eats silicone. Water-based lube works with everything. Have fun. Have more silicone in your anus, and you just need a little bit more lubrication there because it doesn't produce its own lubrication, so have fun there. Let's look at one more question. Hugs and eye gazing. This is a really good one. Starting with hugs and eye gazing in the very beginning of an intimate setting can be something very powerful. Now, if you just started dating, this is something that I wouldn't recommend, but at the same time, maybe it is something that you're super into. It really depends on reading the room or taking the temperature of the person that you're starting to date. Now, if you're somebody that's from Denver, Colorado, then this is something that I would probably do, like on probably a first date, probably a second date, because I know that my community is a little bit foo-foo-y, as some would say. But in my world, I just understand I'm just trying to see this person. I want to be felt with this person. And I want to see if this is nerve-wracking to them or eye-opening, or if this is something that they've been waiting for a long time in a partner. Because some couples that have been together for like 20 years can finally do 5 minutes of eye gazing and 20 minutes of hugging. Maybe a whole 20 minutes of just cuddling, maybe 3 hours of cuddling. It's another way to see, feel, and hear, and smell, and use your full sensories. Yes, I make up words. Use your full sensories of understanding of what is it like to be in this space with this person. Now, if you're from New York, this might be like, what can I do to gaze with this person for just a minute? What would it be like to hug this person for a minute? Versus if you're from Texas or California, that conversation is going to look different. So you're going to have to read the room a little bit differently with that. Some people, when experiencing long gazes or long holds, well, it's not really given in the American culture, but it is in some other cultures. As a military brat, I understand that being in a room with somebody is just as important as picking up the phone. It doesn't matter if you're in the room or picking up the phone, you're still paying attention to that person. You're giving them time and space, which time and space that you chose to give them, which eye gazing and hugging for a long period of time is a choice of giving time. It's exactly what it is. So hopefully some of these comments from the comment section help. What's coming up next is kissing. How long should we do it? How to help my wife, how to help my husband with getting the pleasure that they want in the room. Mutual masturbation and time off. How to control fast ejaculation. Let's zoom right into it.